Oh, hi guys, welcome to the latest episode of Cricket Draft Insights. Breaking my own rules again, no natural light, dark and dingy room. There's nobody in the house, so I'll record a cricket draft video, so semi-unplanned. But I wanted to talk about strategy, okay? Now, I know I've been accused of overthinking things before. I mean, just pick good players, you know. That's what I did in the World Cup game, isn't it? And I finished 10th. But the county championship game, you know, that's the big one, I think. That's the one that most people played to date. I think there were about 8,500 people played last year. I'm hoping Cricket Draft can get north of 10,000 people playing that game this year. And obviously, just the the platform continues to grow in general. A lot of people seem very keen by an app because an app is better than a website. You know, that's the modern way in terms of storing data and allowing you to do things. I don't know what I'm talking about. Strategy. Anyway, last year, my strategy, I blame Rob Keogh because Rob Keogh was a batter, took a load of wickets the year before, so I set off last year looking for batters who bowled. Daniel Bell-Drummond, Tom Lamombe, David Lloyd, who not only didn't bowl, but they couldn't buy a run between them for about 6 weeks. But I also didn't really pick a very good bowling attack. I had Ben Code and Sam Cook fired me to the top 500 the year before. And then I don't think I picked Code originally because I was worried about his injuries. And I did pick Cook, but then I stopped picking him when I started picking Simon Harmer, who I'm going to stop picking again. So this year, Ben Code, Sam Cook, Jack White. My heart is set on those three guys, and those three guys are going to fire me to certainly the top 1,000. I'm hoping the top 500. I tried to get Jack White in my One Day Cup side last year, and I couldn't make it happen. Ben Code, Sam Cook, Jack White. Those guys are fit. They're playing. They're taking plenty of wickets, and it's wickets that I'm going for in terms of trying to achieve, you know, top 500 finish, because, you know, Cricket Draft have let us know now we can have 5 batters and a wicketkeeper and 5 bowlers. So my takeaway from that is you don't actually need any all-rounders. I mentioned before about shuffling, like even on the bench, you don't need an all-rounder, do you? Which is interesting because I was very much in the mindset of all-rounders. But now, you know, I hope some batters score some runs, but I'm very much aiming for 8 or 9 people who can take wickets. And I figure if people, you know, if I can get north of around 30 wickets a game week, 1,500 points is the minimum I'm expecting a game week, and I hope to regularly go past 2,000 because I figure if there's an average of 3 or 4 wickets each before you consider, you know, bonus points for hauls and maidens, etc., or somebody going on a real rampage, I think my bowling should just wicket taking should get me, or bowling, like 750 points plus maybe. And then, yeah, fingers crossed the batters come up with something too, you know, across 2 innings and get me north of 1,500 points. So at the risk of giving away my team, I mean, I've already significantly hinted at it. Obviously, I'd like to do a nice reveal when we get closer. Code, Cook and White. And obviously, you know, I've mentioned before, like this season isn't last season, okay? Toby Rowland-Jones and Shane Snater. John Simpson did well for me the previous season. They were part of my side last season and they didn't deliver. But I'd like to think Code, Cook and White, if they're fit, are going to fire. Then in the bowling and all-rounders, Higgins, of course, will be in my side. I noticed in the information that Cricket Draft released, they did a little screenshot of some information about Surrey. I don't know, it didn't seem to be selectable, so I don't know if that's just information like on the new app or what. But like Tom Laws was listed as a bowler, only averages 14 with the bat, did very well with the ball. He's one of those, like he could potentially be an all-rounder, but the opportunity isn't there if he's batting quite low. In a way, that makes me think he's of more value though, because if we're still getting minus 25 for a duck, and he's listed as a bowler, but Laws as well. Tom Scriven finished last season very well. Ryan Higgins, Matthew Waite is one I still like, because, you know, I identified him last year and he did very well until injuries sort of reared their head again. But quite a punchy batter, and I was reading about him. I don't know how fit he's going to be to bowl at the start of the season, and I was wondering if he could end up being like a number 6 who doesn't bowl as much. Worcestershire are a fascinating side. They really interest me because they have Waite, Leach, who is one of those bowler capable as an all-rounder, really. But he could be at number 11. Is it Nathan Smith? Tom Taylor? Is it Brooks? They signed somebody else. There's like 5 sort of right-arm, medium, fast bowlers who can bat, right? Before you consider like Finch and Gibbon, who's obviously left arm. The thing about Worcestershire is they have a wicket-keeper and a spinner who are capable of batting in the top 6. There's a lot of players there, and then maybe some have got to miss out. But I was just wondering whether Waite... Don Best is another one. I notice he's one, like Waite, like a few players, I think could bat higher. I say Laws. I'm not saying Best needs to stop bowling, and obviously what there is in front of you affects how high you can get up the order. But they're in that category of player who I figure like could. Steve Smith, obviously, is the classic example. It was like 8 leg spinner, worked his way to 3, worked his way up to opener. So Waite is one of those I'd be keen on, but I'm also not entirely certain. Is he going to be fit? Is he going to have to miss out? But I figure Code, Cook, White, Higgins, Laws, Scriven. If Carlson's a batter, then there's room for someone else. So what is that? 7 or 8? Like, even if they took 4 wickets on average, and you're north of 30 wickets, I'm really like that's my strategy. Like just a load of people that can take wickets, and then the likes of Scriven, Laws, who've probably turned it on with the ball so far, but then can they sort of rise with the bat? I just see plenty of points there. I just see 1,500 as being an absolute baseline. And hopefully north of 2,000. And my batters, as I've mentioned, Anna and Donald, Bohannon steady away. Graham Clark is one I'm probably turning away from in Division 1, just given the other options. But obviously we have to see price and what happens. Generally going, I think, for these sort of, as I have done, these uncapped England players that appeal to me. And I know Bohannon's in the Lions Laws, but some of these that England aren't too interested in. So they don't suffer from Dan Lawrence syndrome, where Matty Potts, okay, and they're getting taken away with England. They just play every week in the county championship, which is important in terms of your transfers. What was I talking about in terms of batting? Donald, Kashif Ali is an interesting one. Michael Pepper. So these guys, they can score quickly. Now Kashif Ali's first class strike rate's only about 50. He's only played a few games. Obviously, he tore it up in the One Day Cup. And he's been playing in Pakistan, and he hasn't necessarily been scoring quickly. And I noticed he opened in the last game. I was like, well, is that really what he needs? But hopefully he did at least spend some time at the crease, and hopefully that'll set him up well to do well. But like I say, Worcestershire as well, it's very tight, I think, in their sort of order and who misses out. But again, just the potential for players who score quickly, just more points. But again, like I said, don't want to overthink things. A few good batters, 1 or 2 that I think can score quickly, some all-rounders who are going to tear it up with the ball. As I've always said, a batter gets out, a batter is out. Bowler gets chance after chance after chance, okay? They can be none for 100, and then suddenly they mop up the tail. 3 wickets, couple of tight overs, bring the economy down. One of them's caught and bowled, suddenly boom, you've got some points, you've got a few points, Batter gets out, they get out. So, when it first came up, 5 batters, wicket keeper, 5 bowler. At one point, I was like, a load of batters. But, a lot of players you want to pick, a lot of players, going to make some decisions to leave out. But I'm leaning towards, going for a lot of wickets. But that's another thing, I did well a couple of years ago. And then last year, made some mistakes, maybe overthought things, shared some opinions. But I learnt a lot. And if anything, you kind of got spoiled for choice. Whereas now it's very much about, okay, is this a team I'm comfortable with? Last year, I was like, Tom Laws, Josh De Cares, they're on the bench taking 5 wicket hauls. I know Miles Hammond, averages 30, might not be everybody's idea of a great selection, but he had a good run of form last season, and it was just one I thought could pick up, and we'll see what the values are like. But just say I leave him out, and he scores 100. week 1. As long as there's logic, and like I say, like with my World Cup team, it was very much, I picked a team and then I was like, oh, this isn't quite right, made a few changes, it felt right. The thing about Cricket Draft is you're going to learn about cricket, and because of the transfers, and I know this year, this season, I think there's less game weeks where there's less teams, like it is more consistent, but you're still going to make a few transfers where you're going to have to take a few people out, bring a few people in, they're going to do well, and then you get a week down the line, it's like, hold on, I've got to leave somebody out. You're going to fall in love with more players. You're going to learn about more players. Then you've got to leave some out, right? So whether they're on your bench or you've left them out, like, it's just fantasy cricket. Just enjoy it. Don't be getting annoyed because you left them out, you dropped them, they're on the bench, and they did really well. But anyway, yeah, I've made a few player profile videos which I quite enjoy doing. I mean, it's a good job because like nobody watches them. But made a few player profile videos. I'd like to try and do just some top tips. Having got a few ideas for some top tips, because last year I was like, oh, captain your wicketkeeper. I still haven't figured out how to find old tweets. I don't know what my other top tips were. I definitely did a video and I said captain your wicketkeeper, which I then said wasn't a good idea. But I had John Simpson who did really well. And obviously, if you had James Root or Ollie Robinson last season, yeah, captaining your wicketkeeper would have been a good thing. It's a case of captaining a good wicketkeeper who scores a lot of runs, isn't it? But yeah, might be some more player profile videos, top tips videos. I was even wondering, I don't know if I should say this, trying to do some sort of live stream for like selecting my squad, which I'm sure you'd all be in a rush to tune in for. I did do a little bit of experimenting with that. But yeah, sorry, just a random sort of advanced chat about who I'm likely to pick and why. Please let me know in the comment section, like, who are your absolute, like, certain picks. I mean, for me, Ryan Higgins. But on that note, the year before it was Ryan Higgins and Ed Barnard, and of course Ed Barnard then was pretty quiet to begin with, but Ryan Higgins is in Middlesex where he's been before. Now they're in Division 2. Like, if anything, it'd be a big ask for him to back up the batting, but then I feel like he's due a few more wickets. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. How's that?